You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. But here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown, but he's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network, and welcome to the Oswego Speedway. For the first time in the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown Series history, we are heading to the Steel Palace. We're not taking on the full length of the Steel Palace, though. We're actually going to be on the bowl-shaped mini track here at Oswego. Call it the Battle at the Bowl 75. These drivers are going to be going for 75 laps here tonight, and no tires in the pits to save them. They've got to go 75 on one set of Hoosier Comanche tires. So we'll see how the night unfolds. We'll kick things off with qualifying, and it is qualifying time. 2 laps given to these drivers. There is no B feature here tonight. We'll take everybody straight to the main so they don't have to worry about a transfer spot, but they do want to worry about where they will end up when it's all said and done. First driver out on the racetrack in the 43 machine. He'll be scored as the 17B on your tower, Cy Bowen, and the number 17B. Bowen completes his first lap time, working lap number 2 here. Bowen, the driver out of Plymouth, Indiana, grabs a wall a little bit there, and that will invalidate his lap time. We're going to try to get some extra laps on the car. Jacob Hayes goes to the top of the board. First car into the 16.928. Which is currently good enough for fast time. We'll see who is able to move throughout the field. Mason Metzger in the 83 completes his qualifying run. First start with the series. And Brandon Elvis in the 22 machine here this week goes to the top of the board, and a bit of a shout out for that 22 on the side of his car. One of the Leave the Pack regulars and longtime runners in the Street Stock Showdown, Brian Gravel, who actually picked up his first Street Stock Showdown victory a couple weeks ago at Rockingham. Unfortunately, Sunday was involved in an accident in his Legends car and walked away, was carried away with some pretty hefty injuries, and unfortunately had to have surgery to fix his broken leg. So Brian's watching on the sidelines. Be gravy if you're watching this. Hope you are enjoying the show. I told everybody to put on a good show for you, so hopefully it's a fun one. But that 22 on the side of Elvis's car for the evening, and right now looking good, top of the board. We'll see if he can put it in victory lane for his buddy Be Gravy a little bit later on. Next driver out on the racetrack picked up the win a couple weeks ago at the South Boston Speedway, his second in series history. Trying to go top of the board here in qualifying. He had a lot of practice speed. This is the driver out of Yorktown, Indiana. This is Carter Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth in the Thunderbird this time around, and he jumps up to the top spot with the fastest lap of the night, a 16.761. And Hollingsworth straight to the top of the board. He shuts it down. He was very happy with that lap time. And it looks like just about everybody finished up in qualifying. Hollingsworth top of the board, a very close field in qualifying. Top 5 qualifying effort from Noah Longyear in the 18. He'll be starting on the pole with the invert of a 5 here tonight. So the 18 going to be bringing us to the green, but great qualifying effort from Longyear. Let's look now at the track we're racing at here tonight. A little bit of a different one. You can see the shape. These drivers can definitely see the shape when they're driving around. There's a lot of character here at the Oswego mini circuit. But I'm excited for the racing that we're going to see. 75 laps at this track is going to be a long time. We did some tire testing earlier, and the way that iRacing tells you how your tires are being used, you actually have a percentage. So at the end of 10 laps, Carter Hollingsworth, I think his tires were down to 93%, and you got to go 75 laps. So you can just imagine how these drivers are going to be struggling throughout the event. It'll be a matter of track position and keeping the tires underneath the machines. Take a look now at the point standings heading into tonight's race. Getting down towards the end of the season here, and time is running out. Dylan Connor currently holds the points lead by 20 points over Brandon Atkinson. Brandon Elvis 25 points back. Those top three drivers very close on points, and when you have two drop weeks also factored into the series, it's going to make things even closer when we get down to the wire. Of course, Dylan Connor, your points leader, did improve his position on points and his gap in the points lead with that victory last week at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. And he will get some extra bonus points here tonight as well for qualifying in that second spot. Connor all season long has been very good at keeping those qualifying points consistent week in, week out. He's been able to utilize those to expand his points lead. And we'll now have a quick warm-up session before our 75-lap feature. Let's talk to our fast qualifier driver who won at South Boston a couple weeks ago and went fast time at Slinger. Carter, third pole in Street Stock Showdown history, and it comes at a track that you weren't even thinking about racing. How are you feeling before this 75-lapper?
Well, about an hour ago, I felt like I wasn't going to race, and now we're on the pole. Just got to give a big shout out to Connor Nolan for loaning me the backup car here. The car's really good. It rotates. Tires are going to mean a lot, so we're just going to have to save. You know, I was going to be starting fifth with the invert, so just going to save tire for about 50 laps and see what we got the last 25.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a matter of keeping those tires on the machine. You went the fastest lap that you have went all night long in qualifying. Do you think the track is going to get faster as we progress later into the evening, or do you think it's going to slow down and there's going to be a little bit more challenges?
Well, if you're going to want to push it 100%, yes, you're probably going to go faster with the weather, but based on how I think this race is going to play out with the saving, it'll slow down a lot. We'll be running around 17 2s to 3s.
All right, well, congratulations to you on your fast time here tonight. You're going to be rolling off fifth after the invert, so we wish you luck. Hopefully we can talk to you after the race.
Yep.
All right, that was your fast qualifier. Now let's move to the other end of the invert. Let's talk to our fifth place qualifier here tonight, who will be bringing us to the green from the pole. Noah Long, your fifth place qualifying effort here tonight. You're going to be bringing the field to the green after the redraw of 5. What can you do in 75 laps to keep that Lucas Oil number 18 on the top spot?
Well, WD, it's pretty simple. I was bitching. I was complaining a lot that we run too many left turn bull rings with no character, and I get gifted this track. I missed Rockingham. Tonight I'm making up for it. This is a track that's going to appeal to my driving style. When you got a lot of character and you got a lot of factors, that's where I go into the attack. Now, because I hit the invert, I'm to the inside. Jacob Hayes and the Colton Knights to my outside. We're going to work together to slow this field down. We want to set a pace. We want to save tire. We're not going to let these guys who believe they should be on the front row if there wasn't an invert bully us into pushing our cars too hard and burning our tires. So that's the strategy. That's what we're going to do, but it's going to take somebody looping me to get me out of the lead, man.
All right, well, I'm excited to see the 18 roll off from the top spot. You mentioned tire saving. Carter Hollingsworth also talked about tire saving. It's going to be interesting to see how the tires fare after 75 laps, but you're on the starting grid. We'll let you get down to the race car, get strapped in, get ready for 75 laps.
Oh, yeah, I'm gumping it for gravy, baby. Gump it for gravy.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you. All right, that was your 5th place qualifier here tonight, who will bring us to the green. The invert was a 5, so we'll flip-flop the top 5, and this is your starting lineup. Noah Longyear going to be on the pole in the number 18. To his outside, it's the number 1 of Jacob Hayes. Inside of row number 2, 3-time winner this season, it's Brandon Elvis in the number 22 here this week, rolling off from the 3rd spot. Into his outside, current points leader in the Street Stock Showdown, that is Dylan Connor. Fast qualifier here tonight and winner at the South Boston Speedway, that's Carter Hollingsworth in the 28. And to his outside, the number 80 machine out of Easley, South Carolina, that's Chris Smith. Inside of row number 4, starting in the 7th spot here tonight, currently sitting in the 2nd spot in the point standings, just 20 points behind Dylan Connor. That's Brandon Atkinson. And to his outside, sneaking up on a top 10 in the point standings, in the number 8 machine, rolling off from the 8th spot, it's Trey Ashworth. This driver ran at Hickory this weekend with the Cars Tour. Now he runs Leave the Pack on a Tuesday night. The number 50, that's Tristan Pena. And to his outside, either 1st or 2nd start this season for the number 17B of Cy Bowen. Row 6 on the bottom is the number 18 machine of Chris Fleming, who's trying to break his way up into the top 15 in points. And now Chris Shepard going to start to his outside. Missed last week. We'll see what the 19 can do. Back behind him, Connor Lee and Zach Murphy going to roll off in row number 7. Cole Baxter, Adam Fulford, row 8. Grayson Mason Metzger and Bradley Major in row 9. And Zach Wilt and Nick Giampa going to bring this field to the green. We come out of turns 3 and 4, a slow pace as they get up to the start zone, and the green is out, and we are underway in racing for 75 laps in the Battle at the Bowl 75 here at Oswego Mini. Through the first set of corners, everybody trying to find their rhythm. Through the first roundabout of turns 3 and 4, everybody just trying to give each other space and leave as much room as possible. Looks like Jacob Hayes in the number 1 machine going to use that outside lane to lead lap number 1. Back behind him, Brandon Elvis in the 22 gets to the 3rd spot early on, and Carter Hollingsworth in the 28 trying to move forward, gets around Dylan Connor for the 4th spot. Your fast qualifier using up that inside lane early, and as we look back behind him, everybody pretty much already single file. You do not want to find yourself stuck up on the outside lane as Connor Lee takes a peek underneath Chris Shepard. Shepard in the 19 on the top side, trying to hold off the 88 of Lee. Is up in front of him, Chris Smith in the 80, now stuck up on the outside. And you can see as soon as you get shuffled to that outside lane just how difficult it's going to be to find your way back down to the bottom. As Longyear leads out front on lap number 5, the field relatively calm through the first couple of laps, but I'm sure the intensity meter going to go to the roof as we get past the lap 25, lap 50 mark. Cy Bowen underneath Chris Shepard in the 19. Bowen a little sideways off of 4, but able to take the spot. Can he clear him through turns 1 and 2? Go on board with the number 17 of Bowen, 24-year-old out of Plymouth. You can just see how careful you have to be on that bottom lane to not get into the car to your outside and also not slide those rear tires. The wall here at Oswego, not exactly even and smooth through turns 1 and 2, and you can see Shepard able to hold off on the outside lane in the 19, just able to hold a smoother line around the racetrack. We are 8 laps in. Out front, still Noah Longyear showing the way. We've got a 2-car breakaway. He and Jacob Hayes have opened up the gap to Brandon Elvis. Elvis in the 22 starting to find his rhythm, doesn't want to burn up the tires early on. We know it's a long race. We know there's a lot of laps left to go. And you do not want to find yourself in a spot where you have to back off to try and cool those tires down. We see Chris Smith putting some pressure on Dylan Connor in the number 91. This is up off of 4. Connor able to get a good exit, but Smith cutting that car close through the corners, keeping the 80 machine right there on the back bumper. Not quite ready to make a move. Then laps in, up front, it's still Noah Longyear and Jacob Hayes trying to work out the golden strategy. Only a car length separating the two of them. but both looking for their first Street Stock Showdown win. And right now they're sitting in a pretty good spot because they don't have to push those cars particularly hard, especially if they're working together like Noah Longyear talked about. They're able to kind of back off a little bit, use some of that gap to their advantage. You see up back just a little bit behind them, Brandon Atkinson in the 15, trying to find a way underneath Carter Hollingsworth, and that time Atkinson able to find a lane. You can see in his mirror, Hollingsworth dipping right back in line, doesn't want to push too hard early on. Down through 1 and 2 again. That's the gap to your race leaders. Brandon Elvis sits in the 3rd spot, Brandon Atkinson 4th, Carter Hollingsworth rounds out the top 5, and back behind him, Dylan Connor has quite a few cars kind of lined up on his back bumper. I don't think Connor's giving it everything he's got just yet. He knows that this is a long race and that he's got to save some tire for the end of it, but at the same time, you've got to keep some of that track position in case we do have a lot of green flag laps like we're seeing. Chris Smith now going to take a peek to the inside. Connor able to keep the door shut for now, but Tristan Pena in the number 50. Now looking underneath Chris Smith. Smith opens up the door just a little bit. The corner here, down in turns 1 and 2. Like Noah Longyear mentioned, 2 completely different corners at this racetrack. You really have to be a master of all trades to get it right here at Oswego, and right now Longyear and Hayes have it figured out. But you can see the difficulties it's creating for Tristan Pena, Chris Smith trying to find a way around Dylan Connor. Connor is able to keep that bottom lane closed off, and Smith just not able to get a run just yet. Little nudge from Tristan Pena that time. This is all happening just behind Carter Hollingsworth for the final spot in the top 5, and you can see Hollingsworth now starting to back off that number 28, starting to lose a little bit of ground to Brandon Atkinson up the road in front of him. The 91 of Connor getting a little bit bigger in his rear view mirror. Is back behind him. Cy Bowen flips underneath Chris Shepard. That is for the 11th spot on the racetrack. Shepard still trying to use up that outside lane. We saw these two battling earlier, but Shepard was able to get the better of the two, but that time the 19 slid up the racetrack a little bit. What kind of a run is he able to get down the straightaway? Look at that. Shepard pulls ahead down into 3, maybe figuring something out on the outside lane as he's able to hold off Bowen to his inside, and now he'll look to the outside of Chris Fleming. There's a little nudge back behind Connor Lee up the racetrack. There was contact with Cole Baxter. Lee has damage to the left front of that race car. You can see as he goes by, the left front kind of got down into the inside wall, scuffed up a little bit. He should be able to continue on without problems, but not the direction Lee wanted to go, as we're still underneath a third of the way through this one. And don't look now, but Brandon Elvis has closed the gap to your top 2. Jacob Hayes in the number 1, trying to keep Elvis at bay. Longyear currently holds the race lead. Both of them about a car length apart. You just have to keep the tires cool. That's the big thing. You don't want to slide the tires. You can't have any loose moments down into the corner, and especially up off the corner. Momentum key here at the Oswego mini track. As we work around to lap number 25, and we look back behind, Chris Shepard in the 19. He's found something on this outside lane. He gets to the outside of Chris Fleming. And that second groove may be starting to become a factor as these cars get lined up on the inside lane. Everybody checking up for the car in front of them. You're able to use up a lot of racetrack and really drive that car off the corner, and you can see Chris Shepard able to make the pass on the top lane. Just can't quite clear Fleming on the inside just yet. That time into 3, I think Shepard going to try to shut the door on corner exit, and Cy Bowen jumps up to the top as well. He's watching what the 19's doing and wants to get involved in some of that action. Trying to figure out some of the different lanes at this racetrack. Once again, we've not raced here before in the Street Stock Showdown, so this is a new experience for a lot of the drivers in the field. Dylan Connor in the 91 got shuffled to the outside of Chris Smith, and now has Trey Ashworth to his inside. I think saw the gap right there behind Ashworth and wanted to just stop the bleeding as quickly as he could, but Chris Fleming trying to have something to say about it. Up front for the race lead, your top 4 now starting to close up. Noah Longyear has got Jacob Hayes right there on his back bumper, and Brandon Atkinson has started to close up on Brandon Elvis. That's the gap to your top 4. Here is Carter Hollingsworth in the 5th spot. A very big difference from your top 4. I'm interested to see how that's going to carry out throughout the end of this race, as things are getting pretty chaotic back behind him now. Adam Fulford in the 71. He's got a pretty good bird's eye view of all this happening. It's tough to keep this car in a straight line on the bottom without breaking it loose and without getting into the car to your outside. Everybody doing a wonderful job keeping their cars underneath of them, as we are getting closer and closer to the halfway point. Still clean and green from the get-go. Noah Longyear has maintained the race lead the entire race. The question is, does he have enough to hang on for the full 75 laps? Your race leaders go by in turns 3 and 4. This is a good chance for us to look at the elevation change that these drivers are really going through in turns 3 and 4. Noah Longyear described it best. It was a road course with only left turns, and I think that really does fit the way that this track drives. 2 completely different corners, like we mentioned, and you have to just be so articulate with every single entrance to the corner, every application of the throttle, and especially that brake pedal. Now Adam Fulford looks underneath Chris Fleming. This is just outside of the top 10 for the 12th spot on the racetrack. And Cy Bowen, Chris Shepard battling once again up in front of them. These two have not been able to get away from each other this race. Bowen going to go back in front for now, and now battle for the race lead. Jacob Hayes looks to the outside of Noah Longyear. Hayes trying to figure something out in that one machine. I think he's starting to see maybe some of the struggles that 18 car is having, and he sees the 22 of Elvis and the 15 of Atkinson getting bigger in his rear view mirror. He does not want to put himself in a position to get past while helping out Noah Longyear. Still a 4-car breakaway at the front, 6 seconds back to Carter Hollingsworth, your fast qualifier. Could be some strategy, could just be a pace difference for these top 4. Either way, we are past the halfway point now, and things are starting to get dicey for the race lead. Hayes in the 1, starting to try out some different lines. You can see him moving up the racetrack, down the back straightaway, trying to find a lane to the outside of Longyear, but Longyear doing a good job holding them off through the center of the corner, not letting that 1 car drive up to the outside. And now Longyear loose down into 1. Has to hang on to it. That allows Hayes to get right up to the back bumper. Longyear going to go to the bottom side down into 3, and Hayes going to try the outside lane. He's going to have a crossover here if he's got anything for Longyear. 35 laps remain here in the battle at the Bowl. Still clean and green from the get-go. Longyear has been able to hold the race lead. Hayes closes way up to his back bumper, down into turns 3 and 4. Remember what Longyear said before this race. He will have to get moved up off the bottom to get past for this lead. And right now it's looking like it. We are approaching 30 laps to go, and the time is really starting to run out for some of these drivers further back behind. You can see the gap now to Carter Hollingsworth, 5.5 seconds, so he is starting to shrink that gap just a little bit, but is there going to be enough time? That's going to be the question. Longyear gets around the 83 of Mason Metzger, puts him 1 lap down. The first car 1 lap down, or sorry, the second car 1 lap down. But Longyear in the 18 continue on the front straightaway, and the caution flag flies. First caution of the evening on lap number 50. Trey Ashworth in the number 8 machine. Not sure what happened there. I think it may have been up in front of him, actually. Watch the 83 of Mason Metzger. Goes down into the corner. They just got a little bit loose, and then Trey Ashworth was right there. Got loose trying to avoid him. Metzger saved it, but Ashworth was down on the inside lane, and that ended up bringing out the caution flag. Oh, and I think after the fact as well, Ashworth did go for a spin, which brought the caution out. But the yellow flag out for the first time here tonight. And if you weren't paying attention, Carter Hollingsworth in the 28, Chris Smith, Tristan Pena, those guys were working their way forward. The gap was inside of 3.5 seconds. And now they're going to be right up to the back bumper of your top 4. Now the question is, does Noah Longyear have enough to hold off the number 1, or the number 1 of Jacob Hayes? My mic was muted there for a minute. I hope it was not muted for quite a while. I just noticed. You guys will have to let me know if you could hear me. But 1 to go signal given. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. We are ready to send the field back racing. With 20 laps to go, it is in the hands of Noah Longyear and Jacob Hayes. Into the restart zone they go, and we're back racing. 20 laps remain here at the Battle at the Bowl. Down into turns 1 and 2. Everybody trying for every inch of room that they can get. Longyear in the front has Jacob Hayes to his outside. Hayes trying to make the second groove work. Out of turn number 4, 19 to go. Dead even for the lead. Longyear leads by about half a car length, but Hayes in the number 1 making that second groove work. Here comes Jacob Hayes to the outside. Brandon Atkinson back behind him in the 15 on the outside of Brandon Elvis, trying to take the 3rd spot. 18 laps to go at the line. Noah Longyear on the inside, trying to hold off Jacob Hayes, but the outside lane starting to come into play here with 18 laps to go. They pull into turn number 3, dead even, and there's trouble behind. Carter Hollingsworth in the 28 machine got into the outside wall, and Chris Smith had nowhere to go. Hollingsworth in the number 28, your fast qualifier, into the outside wall and spun right around. I didn't see how it began, but let's watch what happened to that number 28 machine. This was down into turn number 3. I think there was contact with Elvis there and just got a little bit sideways down into the corner and clipped the outside wall. And as soon as he made contact with the wall, he went around. Nowhere for Chris Smith to go in the number 80. And as they say, cautions breed cautions. Let's watch what happened to the 28. Yeah, just got a little bit too far into the corner, and it's very easy to do. That angle into turn number 3, just a tough spot. Watch it one more time. See the 22 just got up the racetrack a little bit. I don't think expected the 28 to be there and hit the barrels right into the corner. That ultimately sent the 28 around. Chris Smith down pit road as well. Down to down to 14 cars on the lead lap here. Jacob Hayes going to be credited with the race lead. After that one, he had the spot when the caution flag came out, and he will have control here in this restart. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Noah Longyear can get him back in the number 18. Through the restart zone they go. Green flag is back out, and we are back racing with 13 laps to go in the Battle at the Bowl at the Oswego Mini Oval. Through turns 1 and 2, Jacob Hayes launches ahead in the number 1 machine. Back behind him, Brandon Atkinson in the 15, up the racetrack a little bit, gets clear of Noah Longyear. Move Brandon Atkinson to the 2nd spot, and caution flag is out behind him. Problems for Chris Fleming in the number 18. And a big one, it looks like, down into 3. Not sure how it happened exactly. But let's watch one more time. Fleming in the number 18 machine just goes down into the corner. I think just got up the track just a little bit too high, and bam, right into the wall. Hard hit for Fleming. And well, they did a great job of avoiding some of the trouble areas at this racetrack, but the last 2 cautions have kind of came from that tricky spot in turns 3 and 4. You can see him just get a little bit off the racetrack, and there's nothing you can do at that point to kind of along for the ride. Car is going where it wants to go. So a tough break, tough end of the night for Chris Fleming. He was doing a good job maintaining, holding his own. And that will spice things up, because now Brandon Atkinson going to roll off alongside your race leader, Jacob Hayes. And Noah Long, you're going to have a shot from the 3rd spot. What can he do starting from that money position on the restart? Don't count out Brandon Atkinson either. For the 2nd spot, Ty Bowen in the 43 back behind him. Where did Bowen come from? He's wanting to make something happen here late in the race. Dives underneath Noah Longyear. Longyear's got to move up the racetrack, but that opens up the door. Down into 3, a little contact for Brandon Elvis, hangs on to it. Dylan Connor in the 91, way up the racetrack. Able to hold on to it. He went for a wild ride. Down through turns 3 and 4. 5 laps remain for your race leader. Down into turns 3 and 4. Battle is on for the 2nd spot. Cy Bowen in the 43. All kinds of sideways. Here comes Adam Fulford in the 71. Fulford started 16th in this one. All the way up into the top 5, looking for more with 4 laps to go. It'll be 3 laps to go this time for Jacob Hayes. Cy Bowen in the 43 gets sideways. Bowen to the inside, and the caution flag does fly. Caution flag comes out after Bowen in the number 43 got a little sideways. Let's watch once again. Down into the corner, you can see Bowen get sideways, and I think right there when he came to a slow stop, the caution flag did fly. And we will re-rack them and restack them for a green-white checkered here at the Oswego mini circuit. Let's watch that incident one more time for our points leader, Dylan Connor. Down the back straightaway, I don't know if there was contact from behind. I think Murphy may have gave him a little nudge and then grabbed the wall right there, up on 2 wheels, and somehow hangs onto that race car. He'll have a lucky break after that caution flag there, and he will be able to come back out onto the racetrack. But a tough break for Dylan Connor. Cy Bowen as well. He was having a good run in the 43. He was trying to get around Noah Longyear. And now what happens? The 18 of Longyear are going to be up on that outside lane for this green-white checkered. Adam Fulford in the 71 on the inside. He is hungry for that first Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown victory. He has 19 starts. This is start number 20 for Adam Fulford. Has not been to Street Stock Showdown victory lane. And how special would it be for him to get it in a night where he started 17th on the grid, or sorry, 16th on the grid. We'll find out what happens. Green-white checkered time. The final 2 laps here at Oswego. The pace car is off one more time. Through the restart zone they go. Good launch from both of your front 2. Longyear gets a good start in the 18 to the outside of Jacob Hayes. Through turns 1 and 2, Hayes a little bit loose on the bottom side. Fulford makes a little bit of contact. Hayes in the number 1 machine loose, and big time accident down into turn number 3. Jacob Hayes in the 1, flying across the racetrack, and a huge one down into turn 3. Longyear collected. And through all of that, Brandon Elvis comes away with the race lead. and a huge one down into 3. We'll have to watch that one back one more time. It started on the exit of turns 1 and 2. Watch Adam Fulford take a peek down to the inside. Gets underneath, and I think just makes contact with Longyear and Hayes, and then everybody piles in. Hayes flies across the field. And that will be interesting how everything shakes out there. We'll go back on board with Adam Fulford here, see what he saw. Yeah, it just looked like a hard racing deal down into turn number 3. I don't really know what either driver could have done different, but the calamity that ensued after. Hayes went flying through the air. A lot of damage on the right front of that race car. And through all of that, after they re-rack them, restack them, Tristan Pena in the number 50 ends up on the front row alongside Connor Lee. Zach Murphy runs 3rd. Murphy has not been to victory lane in the Street Stock Showdown since July 24th of 2024. Been over 2 years since that 29 machine. And Tristan Pena in the 50 down pit road from the race lead. That hands the lead over to Connor Lee. Lee in the 88 gets put to the front after the 50 of Tristan Pena. Goes down pit road. Looks like this time we will get the 1 to go signal. We'll finish this one off. Final attempt at the green-white checkered. Connor Lee in the 88 going to have control. Can he hold on? What can Zach Murphy do? In the 29, started 13th in this one. And he would love to go back to victory lane in the Street Stock Showdown. 2 laps to decide this one. Lee in the 88 has control. Through turns 3 and 4 they go. And into the restart zone. Good launch for the 88 of Connor Lee. Zach Murphy in the 29 trying to hold off Brandon Elvis for the 2nd spot. Through turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway they go. Connor Lee in the 88 up the racetrack a little sideways. Does he have enough to hold off Zach Murphy? Final time here at Oswego. 1 lap to go. They're still battling it out for the final spot in the top 5 back behind him. I saw 3 wide in the mirror, but out of turns, or into turn number 3 and through turns 3 and 4, Connor Lee, for the first time in his Street Stock Showdown career, is going to win. And it's going to come in the Battle at the Bowl at Oswego Mini. Connor Lee picks up the victory. Zach Murphy comes home 2nd. Chris Shepard comes home with a podium finish when it was all said and done. But Connor Lee picks up win number 1 in the Street Stock Showdown. This is start 14 for Connor Lee, and he goes to victory lane. Let's grab a word from our top 3 finishers. We'll start with our 2nd place finisher by request. We'll grab a word from Zach Murphy first. We'll see if we can't grab Murphy in voice chat here. And we got him up in the broadcast booth. Zach Murphy, P2 here tonight. It was a rather chaotic final sequence of green-white checkers. You came home second place with a car literally on top of your car on that first attempt at the green-white checkered. Like, Jacob Hayes actually landed on top of your roof. It doesn't look too dinged up, though, sitting on the front stretch.
Yeah, the boys over at Coastal Performance built a strong car for sure. It held up. That thing landed on our roof, and yeah, happy to be on the podium. It's definitely been a while since I talked to you. I'm not sure we had the speed to be here, but we battled through the attrition, and here we are.
Yeah, sometimes, like we've talked about before, it's not always about the speed. It's just about being in the right spot at the right time. And luckily, you were in the right spot at the right time. I think if you were half a car back, you had Hayes on your front end and you were going to be involved in that. But instead, he bounced off your roof and it was all good. So congratulations on P2 here tonight. What are your overall thoughts with Oswego Mini, and who do you have to thank?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of practice. Track was pretty fun. I mean, it seemed like a kind of a bigger Oxford. So I felt a little off pace the first half of the race, but it allowed me to save some tires, I think. And then, when the attrition hit, I was able to make the best of that and get rid of the front. But yeah, just got to thank the guys over at Coastal Performance, Brandon and Coleman, Fulford, all the guys, a bunch of great guys to race with. Got to thank UWD for this great league. It's always fun to come out here and race with these guys. A lot of good talent out here, and yeah, just happy to finally land on the podium.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough season for that 29 machine, but good finish for you here. Hopefully it can carry to some more strong runs throughout the final 3 races.
Yeah, agreed. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
That was Zach Murphy, folks. Sorry for cutting you off, Zach, if you watch that later on. That was Zach Murphy, folks, your second place finisher here tonight. We'll talk to now our winner for the first time in his Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown career. Connor Lee up in the broadcast booth, winner after the chaos in that final green-white checkered. Tell me what you saw down into the corner and tell me how you got the lead.
Well, I couldn't see the tires together this month, so I fixed that, and it was kind of pretty happy with myself. I think,
Okay, folks, we had some technical difficulties there with Connor Lee's mic. Not quite sure what happened, but we'll talk to our third place finisher. Started 12th here tonight, Chris. There was some chaos on that final green-white checkered. Walk me through what you saw and how you were able to get the 19 on the podium.
honestly, I just pointed it straight and hoped that it worked out. There's just that was just one of those lucky situations. I do think the car was a little bit, I don't know if it was a third place car, but it was a little bit better than where I was running. I was just stuck on the outside a lot of the race, but a little bit of chaos there at the end, and wound up getting a decent finish out of it.
Yeah, sometimes we've said it before, we'll say it again. Sometimes it's better to be in the right spot at the right time than have the fastest car and be up front the whole time, right? Still a great run for the 19 machine nonetheless. You were battling with Cy Bowen for what looked like the entire race. You guys couldn't get away from each other, battling back and forth, and ultimately you got the better of them, ended up on the podium. Who do you have to thank for a podium run here at the Battle at the Bowl?
I would thank my wife and my daughter for supporting me, and everybody that watches the races for me, my parents, Brian, Tommy, Jim and Susan, and thank Jacob Harberts and Black Magic Performance for all the help.
All right, we've got 3 races left this season, Chris. 5 Flags, Lanier, and Bristol, probably going to be Winchester. We'll see on that. But 3 completely different racetracks. Which one do you have circled as a potential favorite for you, and why?
Linear's fun in these things, but honestly, if Winchester gets added, I think that's the one because something new for all of us, and hopefully it gets added in time because that will be interesting.
For sure. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and with the extra horsepower too, I think you guys are going to be able to slide around a little bit more. So I'm excited. Like you said, fingers crossed. Hopefully it comes out. But congratulations, Chris, on P3 here tonight. Hopefully we can talk to you a little bit more later on this season.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. That was Chris Shepard, our third place finisher here tonight. He's currently in a battle for the top 5 in points. Currently just out of the top 5. Let's see if we can grab Connor Lee up into the booth. Let's see if his mic is working a little bit better for me here. Okay. All right, we got him now. Connor Lee up in the booth. Winner here tonight. It was kind of a crazy one. Walk me through that final green-white checkered, second to last green-white checkered.
Yeah, well, I was happy just to get hopefully a top 5. I had been as far back as like 17th at one point, so I was kind of happy where I was at. And then going into 3, I don't even know what happened. Somebody got turned, and we all got pushed and washed up into it. And so I wasn't really sure how much damage I had. If car felt okay, but I felt like I had to have some. But I hadn't won one yet, so I was going to stay out and try and win one.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, have not won. This was your first career victory. There was 13 previous starts with a field competitive as this street stock field. How does it feel to finally break through that win barrier and put your name up in the category of accomplished winners?
Yeah, I've been wanting to win for a long time. I've kind of, raced as much as I can here and there in this league. It's been fun. And like you said, there's a lot of really good guys. And I've had a couple opportunities to get close, but I've never been able to do it. And so maybe I had a little bit of luck tonight, but I still feel pretty good to finally win one.
Yeah, we've seen the 51, 88, whatever number it is on any given night. We've seen it have good speed quite often, and this always seems to just barely not work out sometimes. But I'm glad that the 88 was finally able to break through and get the victory here tonight. Hopefully it can lead to more down the road. Who do you have to thank for finally getting that first checker flag?
I think my real life sponsors, B&R Services and Bearco Backflow Prevention. And just thank you for putting this league on. Had a lot of fun. And like you said, just hopefully we can lead to some more, or at least see me up front a little more often.
Yeah, it's definitely a competitive league. It takes a lot to run up front, and I'm glad to see that 88 machine in victory lane. And like I said, hopefully it can lead to more in the future. But congratulations one more time, Connor, on your first career Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown victory.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, folks, that was our winner here tonight, Connor Lee, finally getting that first Street Stock Showdown victory. There's a lot of drivers that have got a lot of laps in this series that have got the goose egg in the wins column. It's a hard series to win in. You can run up front, but winning is another story. We'll run through our final finishing results. Connor Lee, your winner. Zach Murphy, second. Chris Shepard, third. We just talked to him. Dylan Connor and Bradley Major round out your top 5. Back behind him, it's Brandon Atkinson, Adam Fulford, Noah Longyear, Brandon Elvis, and Cy Bowen rounding out the top 10. Trey Ashworth comes home 11th, final car on the lead lap. And back behind him, it's Jacob Hayes, Tristan Pena, Carter Hollingsworth, and Zachary Wilt. It's your top 15. And the rest of the field on back, Mason Metzger, Chris Fleming, Chris Smith, Cole Baxter, and Nick Giampa rounds out our 20-car field. That'll wrap up our coverage of the Oswego Battle at the Bowl on the mini track. It was a fun race. We had a lot of green flag laps at the beginning. There was a little chaos at the end, but that is in true Street Stock Showdown fashion. I'm glad everybody had a fun time. Thank you guys for tuning in. There's the rest of our schedule going forward. 5 Flags, Lanier, and hopefully Winchester. If we can get it out, we'll even delay it a week if we have to. But one more time, thanks for watching. Hit that red subscribe button for more iRacing content. I am your host, Winston Deal, signing it off from the WD Broadcasting Network. We'll see you guys next time. Y'all take it easy.